Okay, just trying to sort this out. Okay, I think that's good. Okay. My properties set up here. Okay, I think that's everything. So this is going to be a slightly shorter stream just because I'm running a little late. But I'll explain this week's shenanigans. Well, let me edit that title. Okay. Okay, there we go. Get my pop-out window here. Yeah, I kind of prefer streaming here on YouTube as opposed to Twitch. They're both nice. Twitch is a little odd. I don't know. I think it's their software that I have a little bit of trouble with, but either way, so just get started. So, as I said earlier, got some shenanigans going on over here involving my father's health, and I'm not real happy about that. Because it's kind of affecting, well, it's affecting my sleep among other things, so I'm not as creative as I normally am, which is kind of irritating because I've got a little bit of time to create now, and I'm all of a sudden getting hit by artist block. But that's okay because I know how I'm going to start things off. Put a classic. No, I'm going back to essentials. Yeah, it's been a damn rough week. So on Wednesday, I had to go check my father back into the hospital. He had a fever. And the problem is, actually, you know what? I'm going to try something here with this because I'm kind of fighting with Flash right now. So the problem we got going on right now is that because my father's immune system is pretty much minimal right now, if he gets a fever, that's actually really bad and you got to take him to the ER. Thankfully we found out he wasn't traditionally sick. Oh, come on, OBS, catch up. Jeez. Yeah, I really don't like flat. Okay, I just wanted to check that out. Because I have to go back to this. So, my father had been developing a fever, and it turns out that this is the type of fever you get with chemo because your white blood cells drop. And unfortunately, his white blood cell count dropped, and we had to get him over there for them to take a look at it and determine what was going on, and it was really awful. I'm getting tired of having to go to hospitals, but the problem we encountered first off is based on his oncologist's information sheet that was left with us, the idea is if you come down with something, you don't stay at home. You have to go to the ER. Before you go to the ER, you have to contact the oncologist's office so that they can make touch with the local hospital, and then everybody's connected and everybody knows what's going on, and that's fine. The problem was we called up the office at 6, and by the time it was 7 o'clock, I had to take him down. His fever had been spiking a little bit more. They said if it got over 100.4 to take him down there. And at 6, a little after 6, it was 100.4. But we waited 40 minutes to see if they would call, and then my father took a nap. Think maybe if we're lucky, we won't have to go. Maybe his temperature will drop a little bit. And instead, it went up to 101. So that was it. Had to go to the ER. But because life around here is what it is, I had to wait in the ER for 40 minutes to get him checked in. Got him checked in. They put him on antibiotics. They got him on an IV, and then they said, your white blood cell count has dropped. The doctor is 50-50 on whether or not he wants you to stay or go home. And my father really didn't want to stay. He'd spent enough time in the hospital. So, but we thought we had to think things over and realized, my mom wanted him. My mom would want him to go to the hospital and stay there overnight. So, no arguments. He did that. I come home at 8:30. Okay, I think I'm just gonna work on a comic for a little bit. Get some of this OCD out of my system. I don't know, but my mom was furious, which I don't blame her. I was angry too. I was expecting, about 9 o'clock or so, we'd get a call back from the office, and the office would tell us, sorry, we've been really busy. That's why we didn't respond to you sooner. You did the right thing by taking him to the ER, and we will be in touch with them. We were expecting something like that, but they never contacted us back. So when my mom called up earlier that day, we were given the notice by them that we were given a special number. This is supposed to be a direct line to the oncologist. It's directly to the office, so you don't have to go through the hospital. No complaints about that. But when we actually needed them, nobody answered. And this is what we're told is our direct line. And yes, I'm revising Red's design one last time, just because I was sketching out this stuff a little earlier. So next morning comes, I don't sleep. I get maybe 3 or 4 hours sleep. My mom does about the same. Head on over to the hospital. See my dad, and his fever was breaking when I left the night before. So they took his temperature, and his fever was practically gone. And so they said that they were going to give him another bag of antibiotics just to be safe. And then at 10:30, everything went wrong. And everything went wrong because I get a phone call. I'm kind of playing phone operator here with the family cell phone, and it's someone asking for my mom, and I know it's the nurse from the oncologist office. And I know it's coming because my mom was furious the other night about not even getting the courtesy call. I was angry about that too, but I'm tired. I don't want to have to deal with this stuff, and I'm hoping it doesn't get worse. And my mom the nurse will apologize to my mom, give her the boilerplate response, and just say, we will try and do better next time. We just happened to be real busy yesterday. Instead, the nurse calls up my mother in regards to her passive-aggressive but firm message that she left the other night about what good is having a direct number if nobody's there to answer. And instead, the nurse doesn't take any responsibility for there not being anybody responding the other night, and says, "You called the office number and I wasn't at the office, so sorry about that." The hell kind of an answer is that? And my mom is able to compose herself somewhat, but she still blows up at this nurse a little bit and hangs up on her and tells her, he's gonna get treated over here. We've had it. And the thing is, this is just barely over 2 weeks since my father got out of the hospital. And I've already had some problems with this hospital, so does my mom. We were trying to leave lots of notes with his nurse. I was trying to get the hospital to sign him up for Social Security / Medicare, because I can't do that on my end. He has to be there for some of that. And since he was 3.5 hours away, it didn't work out well. They never gave him any help with that. And then, unfortunately, when I got a hold of the person, I got the number from someone else at the hospital about the person who helps people sign up for this. I left her a message. I called back 3 or 4 times that day, trying to catch her at various times. I never heard back. I tried it again the second day, another 4 times, and she never called me back either. I got very fortunate when I called up Social Security myself and actually was able to get a hold of someone and say, my father is now disabled because of this cancer, and I've got to get him signed up for Medicare because he's in the hospital right now, and these are going to be some really hefty bills. I took care of that myself, but we've gotten very little help and support from this clinic, and I'm angry about that. But the kicker is, an hour after she calls up, the ER doctor comes over and tells us what's going on and says, this is very common. Unfortunately, people who are on chemotherapy will have their white blood cell count drop, and that's the chemo. It's just how it is. It's very common. They have different ways to treat it, which is good news. The bad news is he says they've not been able to get a hold of the oncologist office, and this is an hour after the nurse has called us up to defend the office for having nobody there to answer when there was an emergency. But this also means that around the same time, the doctor came to tell us what was going on and that he needed to talk to the oncologist because he wanted to see how she wanted to handle things. Because my father is her patient, so she gets jurisdiction over stuff. Well, has been able to reach the office. And so the office is, for some reason, nobody is answering the phones in the oncologist office, yet the nurse is calling up us to give a half-assed apology over not being there to do their job, but they're not talking to the hospital regarding my father's condition. And I've been pissed off about this for a few days now, because the nurse, whatever the hell this idiot nurse is doing over at the oncologist, she's trying to cover up her tracks or something, because this makes no sense. Well, the day after that all this stuff happens, my father's forced to stay at the hospital for an extra day, even though by about 1 o'clock he is back to normal. But the hospital wants him to stay because they don't want to do anything without the okay from his oncologist. If they can't reach her, they will speak to his primary physician, and the ER doctor will take a look at what other options there are for him, and then that'll be that. They were going to make the call. The following day, they get a hold of the oncologist, and she says what she wants to do, and then we get the news that the oncologist has been on vacation for the past few days. and she won't be back until next Tuesday. And my mom called the oncology office at on the day my father was sick about 2 p.m. to find out what they wanted to do, and they did get back to her then, but they didn't tell us that the oncologist was on vacation until next week. And then when that idiot nurse calls us up, she doesn't tell us that either. She could have said something like that. Instead, she was trying to create excuses for my mom. And the problem is, with all this is, even though it doesn't sound as serious as it is because they have ways to treat my father's condition, if we had done what they wanted us to do and sat around and waited until we got their response, my father could have gotten really sick and it could have killed him, because when you have a non-functioning immune system, an infection will turn into, a fever turns into an infection, and the infection turns into sepsis, and it does this all pretty quick. Time is not on our side, and we had to wait 17 hours just about to get a response from a phone call made at 6 p.m. the previous day. And when we do get the phone call, it's not to tell us anything other than, oh, well, we didn't have anybody here because that was the office number. Nobody was at the office. Sorry. What the hell is going on here? So I'm really pissed off at all this stuff. No, I don't quite know what we're going to do about it. It sounds like we're probably going to get another oncologist who's local, but yeah, this is aggravating. Yes, SG boy, the clinic never, either the employees at the oncologist's office didn't know the oncologist was going on vacation, or the oncologist didn't tell them she was going on vacation, which I doubt that. The oncologist herself is fine. We like her a lot. Not impressed by her staff. I'm not impressed by that clinic. I'm grateful for them for saving my father's life. But goddamn, we're still so early into my father's treatment, and we need all the support. God damn it, Flash! We need all the support and help we can get. And instead of getting support and help, we get excuses and answering machines, and then have to wait. First, we have to wait 17 hours to get a response to the initial phone call. Then we're stuck waiting over 24 hours before they're able to make any contact with the office and get a hold of the oncologist and find out what she wants to do. Sounds like goddamn negligence to me, but I don't know. We're going to end up getting a different oncologist who's local, because this was really, really bad. And yeah, I know hospitals have rough days. I know hospitals have bad days. I know the staff are trying to work and everything, but I am not going to sit around and wait for people to do their jobs when they feel like it. Due to my father's health, he just does not have the luxury. And I don't know. I am still trying to figure out what is going on with these people, because nothing seems to really be working out for us this week. So I don't know if there even is a safe answer for what's going on here, or if there's even any type of a reasonable answer for it, because after an emergency situation builds up, to not hear from anybody in under 3 hours, that's bad. To not hear from them in 17 hours is worse. To not hear from them for over 24 hours is infuriating. Because, we don't exactly have a lot of support here at this time. All my my father's family is in multiple different states and stuff. And I'm really struggling to get a comic going here. Give me a moment. I know what I'm going to do. I know what I'm going to do. So, even though I like all this, I think I can do a little bit better with it, and I can do something a little different because, as I was talking about on the little Twitch stream I did on Friday, since I'm trying to figure out how to do all this stuff at once, I've got to learn simplicity. And I was playing around with this with a pencil earlier just to try and remember how to draw with a pencil again. And I think I figured out how to get a little bit more simplicity with my art style here. But yeah, I've got a lot to carry on my back. My mother is doing her best. My father is doing his best. He can't do a heck of a lot right now, but he finds things he can do. But when the lousy hospital goes silent, when you got an emergency like that, that is really concerning. So trust got established a few weeks ago, and then right after we have our first emergency after my father gets home, trust got violated. And I'm very, very disappointed that it's come to that because we like the oncologist a lot. She's really good. But her staff so far, they're kind of crap. And I don't like saying that either. Because it's not like, well, because I can't presume that the staff woke up that day and decided they were going to avoid the phones for a full day and not have another hospital be able to reach them. But I don't know. So that was my Wednesday. And my Thursday. And then we got my father home on Friday. And then he had a fever yesterday, which was a slight one, but had to sit around and just wait to see if it was going to go up, if it was going to go down. Was I going to have to take him back to the ER? Because I was hoping to do a stream the other day, but I didn't get a chance to because, well, one, it's very hot here again, and I can't stream in very hot weather, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm still trying to stay ahead of the game here just a little bit. So those are the shenanigans that we've had to deal with over on my end. That's what I was going to do. So since I've still got some animator's block sticking to me, and I'm also I've really been questioning myself with my skill set over the last few weeks since everything changed around here. And I'm trying to figure out what I can really do. Because I've got all these different little toon series that I'm doing. And I don't really have a specific audience set up. I've got various people who form an audience, but I don't have a specific one yet. And I was talking to a friend last night who said you need to get yourself a single audience. For the most part, that means focusing on one project instead of multiple projects at once. And I have to say, I'm used to multitasking on multiple projects at once, but I've mostly been flustered this week about not really succeeding on a lot of things. I keep chasing success and not really knowing what I want. And I kind of just came to the conclusion that I guess really the first step I have to do is build up an audience again. So far, I've got a small audience. I got a few of you guys who have some time to spare, which is good. but I got to do a little bit better. So I got to sort out that lousy watch time. And if I didn't have all these problems going on with my father right now, things would be a little different. I might be a little bit more patient. But unfortunately, that's not the way things are going right now. I do have all this stuff going on. And it's stressful because my mind is always in a few places. But I'm not giving up on my... Because I may not have much of a life, but I got a small one that I like. And I want to spend what time I have creating. So, this is me trying to simplify things a little further. This would be Red wearing the more current outfit that I've designed for her because there's less detail. But what I'm doing is focusing on the more Tom and Jerry aspect that I was looking at the other week when I was talking about redesigning my approach to this, where it's kind of just random adventures of a character. Because even though I had that story going, that little story that I was going to do, I don't think I have the time to do it. But what I do have the time to do are short tunes. And so this is going to be a partial storyboard as well as a comic. So the idea for this one, even though I've got these lovely background trees and everything else here, I can't use those. There's too much detail in them. But it's not the right type of detail. I can simplify things just a little bit more. And while I'm doing this, I'm also trying to sort out what the future of my Joy comics are going to be. Because I've just had all the damn creativity sucked out of me this week, it seems. And sometimes I can get it back. Because, even though I'm not perfect, I can bounce back. But the issue is the well is kind of dried up just a little bit because of all the stress. And even though I've got some stuff planned out, it's not quite there yet. Because the first little comic here that I'm doing, this is going to be a tune. But I'm doing a partial storyboard for right now. So this is going to be the first tune I do. This is going to use a slightly different animation style. And in order to simplify things, I'm just drawing Red to be a little bit more like a Joy character now. So I'm just trying to cut back on some detail, but keep enough of it there where it's got the right amount to it. So there, now she's completely got Joy's sandals on, even though I had straps here and there last time. And I'm not sure what I want to do for color, but we'll take that we'll ignore that for right now, and I think we're going to simplify the fingers just a little bit. So now I guess the hands are going to be a little bit more like duck feet also, but it works. So this is the back of Red's new design, even though it's just in comic form. And so the first little comic is going to be my Wile E. Coyotes. So, hey Jitter Fritter, nice to meet you too. The first comic is going to be my Wile E. Coyote comic. And in this one, it's going to be Red trying to kill a dragon. And I had storyboarded just a little bit of this at the pizza parlor earlier today because that's where I go when I need a break. And I've needed a break for a few days, but we just got to keep everything going. So, but I'm trying to keep going because this gets the stress out of my body. So, but either way, how are you guys doing today? There we go. Yeah, I'm giving her back her classic shield, the classic shield. Oh, well, thanks for your support, Jitter Fritter. Yeah, I'm just complaining about the medical shenanigans I had to deal with this last week regarding my father. So I was going to do a stream the other day, but I had a 50-50 chance of having to take him back to the hospital if we weren't able to get his temperature lowered. So yeah. But yes, as you mentioned, SG Boy, Red is a little bit of a Kimmy character, I suppose. I haven't quite sorted her personality out yet. But this is where I'm hoping to get her sorted out just a little bit more. I think I can do a little bit something else with that body type. It's supposed to be a little bit more kidsy and toony. Somebody had mentioned it's looking a lot more like something from the Wind Waker. And I can't disagree with that, even though I completely forgot about that. Forgot about that art style, but yeah, I'm just doing a bit of a warm-up here, so I am using OBS to stream Jitter. It's okay. I tried a Twitch stream the other day. I'm not a huge fan of Twitch's version. It's not bad. It feels a little awkward. So I don't know if that's just me because I'm using something new or what. But we'll see. So it gets the job done. So yeah, the first antagonist I've got red facing actually is a dragon. And that's the crude design of the dragon. I haven't sketched it with the mouse just yet. But I'm also updating Red's hairstyle a little bit. I actually found I kind of miss her having bangs on the side. So streaming art isn't too hard. It isn't too exciting either. The problem with streaming art is you never quite have any idea how it's looking on the other side. Sorry, we've got slight hay fever allergies kicking in. Here's me doing my crude storyboard here. Yeah, I've got a drawing tablet. I don't use it. I'm always scared I'm going to break it. Because I'm not somebody who gets nice things a lot. And I don't want to... Oh, sure. Go ahead, Jitter. You can draw red. And I don't want to break anything because then I have to replace it. And I don't have a lot of money to replace things right now because everything is kind of on the side. Everything's kind of on the skids for me right now. I don't have a Discord chat. I'm not sure I even have anything that interesting to say to warrant having a Discord chat. So let's see. But I'm still working on getting through this artist block because I got stuff that I want to do, and I'm only seeing things a little clear. Because normally I can see things really clear and I can just hop on it, and I like it when I can do that. I don't know if I should get a Discord chat or not, but yeah, we'll see how. I do. I think I do. I haven't used it in forever. Yeah, artist block makes me want to scream sometimes because I can function several times a year without having to do things like storyboard, and I can just feel my way through stuff. And now I'm kind of fumbling just a little bit. But yeah. So I will just redo Red here with her adjusted character design. What I really want to try and fix with her character design is I really like the triangular shape of everything that I had going on here. I'd have to find my Discord info. You might have to give me a moment because I have not been very active there. Unfortunately, a few weeks back, I had to stop using a lot of stuff just because I don't have the time. See profile. Let me take a quick look. Okay. Oh, come on, Discord, you wiener. Okay. That's my Discord. I've only got a little bit of it going here. Okay. Oh, come on, Discord, don't crash on me. Okay, added you guys. Ooh. Okay. Just send a wave to you. There we go. Yeah, so I know one of the things that has helped somewhat with artist block is drawing your character doing something different that they would normally not do. But Red is still a very new character, so I've only figured out chunks of what she does. Maybe I should settle for making things a little bit more toony. I don't know. Oh, come on. There's the head shape. Oh wow. You draw well, Cat Mom. My coloring skills have never been that great. I liked how you did the hair. So right now what I'm contemplating doing with Red's design for this little stream is to just get I want to see if I can mix a little bit more of her original design in without having to add too much detail. Got yours too, SG boy. Yeah, I don't know, maybe I should set up a Discord or a server or something. I don't know. Like I yeah. Yes, I know, Jitter. Well, or Cat Mom if you prefer me to call you that. But here we go. So this is my modified, I guess this will be the modified style. So I've had, oh, well, I need all the likes and the watch time I can get right now, but that's some of that is a little bit more for me. I've got to figure out how to be a better streamer. But yeah, I'm also old now. That always makes things a little harder to do. Just because I get lost in my ways. I actually found I was watching some tutorials on Flash MX, that was the original version of Flash I started using all those years ago. And I was actually getting a little nostalgic for it, even though it's got a lot of limits. The interface is still kind of clumsy because this was when Macromedia owned Flash. But yeah, I'm pursuing simplicity right now. Character poses are mostly easy enough to do. It's just getting this new art style going. I don't think I have a very good voice, so yeah. That was part of the reason I haven't streamed before. I guess I've got a calm sounding voice, but not a really good sounding one. Actually, I know what I can do just because I need a break. Maybe that's what I should do. So, for my simplified version of red, I guess I can put in red's nemesis. And red's nemesis, part of the reason I'm swapping I've changed red's design is because I have a second character, and the second character is black. I'm still keeping some of my original theme with this project. The original theme was supposed to be characters that are in debt, and it was supposed to be financial based and things like that. So red is a warrior and black is a thief. Red is in debt and black always has money. Because these are financial terms. If you have a business and you're in the black, that means you're making money. If you're in the red, that means you're in debt. And I thought that was fun, so I'm also giving the characters names based off of colors. So red's name is Red Rouge, and then black's name is Black Velvet. Even though I don't know if there's such a thing as Black Velvet, I just thought it kind of rolls off the tongue and it sounds nice. And I'm cannibalizing a little bit of Shasta's redesign from Breach, so the sharp end pieces with the hair. And part of the reason I changed Red's design also is what she's wearing there. That would cost money. And the other outfit she's got makes her look a little bit more poor. Whereas black, I'm keeping black is a thief that is a fencer. I've got about half of a sword fight plotted out for them. Well, thank you, Jeter. I need all the help I can get, because right now my father has been diagnosed with a terminal form of cancer. It's blood cancer. This is all very new. This just happened. Everything. The problem started a few months ago, but he got diagnosed just a little over 1 month ago. So I am now a caretaker for my father and my mother. My mother has dementia creeping in on her. So I've got issues with production time. Oh, I can I can take care of that SG boy. That's not jitter. That is uh, I've got uh, I've got like seven chat. I just closed down jitter. I'm not jitter. I just closed down Discord. The problem is I've got about 9 Discord rooms there, and things are usually pretty quiet. I guess they're not so much today. So yeah, that's not Cat Mom. That is one, two, or maybe three of my Discord chat rooms that I haven't visited in 3 weeks. Yeah, I'm in a couple animation ones just because there's a Sakuga place I go to where I get to see people who are actual animators do their thing. Because I only do little I can't match what a lot of the pros can do. I've started to catch up just a little bit, which is comforting, but I've got a ways to go. So I take a look at what they do with their work, and it gives me some ideas. But until I can break the animator's block, I'm a little hosed for right now. And let's see, I think I left my sketch pad out in the car, so I'll have to do black by memory. I haven't even decided on what Black's color scheme is going to be, because part of the reason that's her name is she has black hair. But I haven't decided even what skin tone I want to give her, or I haven't even decided if the character is going to be human or elf or anything like that. I used to get a lot more inspiration when I was younger from watching animation. I haven't been getting that as much, and I think some of it has to do with the fact that I'm a little more self-conscious about my skill level. Because even though I've gotten much better, I was watching something from someone who's 24 years old who's actually been properly trained, and I was feeling a little bit irritated about that, because I was watching somebody do a type of a shot I always wanted to do. And they did it effortlessly. They're a professional animator that gets paid for it, and I thought, damn, I really want to do that, but I've got other stuff to do. And unfortunately, as I've said in a couple other streams, since you're new here, Jitter, I've had this last year to level up my skill set, and now my time is gone. I was hoping for more time, because I actually spent the bulk of the year working on my screenwriting, and I got much better with that. Well, I don't know if you can help me. Some of the problem is I've picked up a lot of bad habits. And those bad habits, I've shaken off a handful of them. But there's still things I don't do. Like, I don't storyboard when I animate enough. Okay, sorry about that, SG boy. You take care of yourself. Hopefully that headache will go away. There we are. But normally, I've always been able to see what I want to do in my head. So I've always just animated or drawn stuff that way. So I've never really storyboarded, because when I storyboard, I always find I try and follow the storyboards, even though storyboards are not meant to be followed so much as they're a guide. I end up trying to follow them, and it makes everything worse because then I freak out over not matching what's there. It's a stress thing, and also I kind of like having the freedom to just do whatever, but I can't do that as much because the last tune I did, I only storyboarded 2 shots, which is more than I would normally storyboard. It was the sword fight that I animated for episode 1s of Dungeons and Debt, and it came out pretty good. I wish I would have loved to have made it longer, but it had to be a short, and I was running low on time. Otherwise, I would have had that sword fight be at least another 3 seconds long, because I was having fun, and then I just had to end it because I wanted to have I wanted to have enough time for the resurrection joke at the end, and I didn't have quite enough time for it. I also don't even know if I really needed that joke. But then again, when I was originally doing this series, the idea was I was going to have sort of the adventures of one character who's constantly broke and constantly dying, and every time she dies, she has to pay the guild 100 gold pieces for resurrection, and so it's her trying to work off her debt. And that was where Black came in, because Black was meant to be a thief that starts making Red's life miserable. And I was going to have their little story arc end with Red killing Black and getting the reward on her, and then she's free from most of her debts, and now Black's the one who's in debt. Because if you're a thief, you have to pay a lot more for a resurrection spell. But it was always meant to be something a little like Looney Tunes, and it was supposed to have some slapstick stuff to it that I was going to do. And then after I took my father to the ER last month and we got the diagnosis that he had cancer, I've just been having to rethink how I'm going to do all my stuff. Because even right now, I'm adjusting Black's headgear just a little bit here, because I'm trying to keep a bit of a shape here. And I'm not too happy with that eye, because she's got half her face covered up. This creates a bit of a crooked look. But yeah, the whole reason I started this project was because my father's health was acting up, and we knew something was going on, and he was being real stubborn about going to the hospital because he didn't want to have to stick us with a huge medical bill. But also, it turned out the type of cancer he has it mimics other health problems, and we thought it was his heart acting up. And it turned out, no, that was the cancer mimicking the heart issue. And it was really clogging up his kidneys with calcium and white blood cells. And then it had eaten up most of the marrow in his bones. So we're trying to get him sorted out. But when I was doing the first tune, I was just doing that to take my mind off what was going on. Because every day I was feeding my father healthy food, and we're treating everything as if if it was a heart problem, and it ended up not being a heart problem. It ended up being a cancer problem. So the type of cancer he has is something you can only get from either being around radioactive material or radiation, toxic chemicals, or toxic minerals, and it's called multiple myeloma. And there is no cure for it. What it does do is it's treatable. So there are people who have stage 3 who can still live up to 5 years. My father has stage 3, so we're pushing for that. But they have different treatments for it, and if he still might end up getting a bone marrow transplant. They will take marrow from his own body because he still has a little bit left, and then they will transplant that to different parts of his body. And then, in theory, it not only doubles the amount of marrow he has, which gives him a fighting chance at surviving, but it puts the cancer in remission. And if the cancer goes into remission, then that gives him more time. But not every person is the same, unfortunately. So we don't know for sure what will happen if or even if he's going to get that far, because he finished one cycle of chemo, which is good, but he has to finish 4 cycles before they have any idea how his body can handle future stuff. So it's a mess. Oh, I could use it. I haven't had good luck for a long time. It's been a while. Although I have better luck when my creativity is working, because then I can think artistically, and that is part of how I relax. I've been doing a bit better on the writing. I have yet to start up. I'm going to do a Give, Send, Go as opposed to a GoFundMe. GoFundMe just did something very weird earlier this month, and I've been hearing people talking about them doing things like this, where they will take down people's fundraisers and never explain why. And some of these people are in bad shape, and they'll reach the goal, but the fundraiser gets shut down all the same. I will do one for my father at some point, but I'm waiting to get him sorted out a little bit farther, just so that things are a little bit more solid, because on Wednesday he goes back to his traditional regimen, and he is going to be on his chemo again. He's going to get his there's a type of stomach shot he has to have. It'll keep the cancer from purging calcium out of his bones, and it'll also strengthen his bones and help them maintain the calcium that's there. So once that's done, well, you're in luck. I'm unemployed right now. Although, well, I'm not. I'm technically unemployed. I'm taking care. Now that I'm a caretaker of my folks, I will be making a little bit of money from the state. They have a program here where family members can take care of family members. So, yeah, I lost my grandmother to cancer. I was her caretaker when that happened. My grandfather, who was her husband, survived his bout of cancer. It was a stage 3 carcinoma in his colon, which was, but that's a different type of cancer than what my father has, because what my father has you can only get from poisonous stuff. But I am still learning how to be a caretaker and how to do other things, because it was very different for my grandparents, because my grandparents were much older than my father, and they were in very different condition. So I'm just trying to take care of things at home best I can. So I make a little bit of money being a caregiver from the state. I'm kind of a mess as a person, but I'm not the worst thing out there. I'm just trying to finish off I want to try and finish off my YouTube partnership, because I'm pretty I got the right amount of subs. I don't have the watch time, and I've always kind of had trouble with watch time. That's something I have to sort out myself. Some of it is my pacing, some of it is my writing. The animation has finally sorted itself out, so I don't have to worry about the animation as much, but I'm older, so I don't do the type of humor that everybody does now, for better or worse. I don't know. I'm also still trying to find my own voice with humor, because there used to be a time a long time ago when I used to have a few tunes that went viral. When around 2008, I used to be much better with humor, and I'm actually not sure how I used to do that either. I could just make connections on stupid jokes and make them work. So, oh well, watching my stuff helps. I don't know. Sharing it with friends helps. There we go. That's what I wanted. Yeah, sharing it with friends helps because I need watch time. Any types of views help, but uh, do whatever you can. I still don't know much about YouTube either. I've learned more. Part of the problem is I'm not doing YouTube correctly because every channel kind of focuses on one thing, and I focus on a lot of things that are all connected, but it's not one thing. It's several little things that are all similar. So I am happy I started streaming when I did, just so I can get used to it. Okay, I think the last thing I'm going to do here is got to get rid of the pirate arms. I've got to straighten this out just a smidge, because red and black are my first two characters for this. Both have to be distinct, and black is not as distinct as she could be. But I'm going to end up doing some spy versus spy stuff with these two. That I don't know if you remember those, but Spy vs. Spy used to be that old comic where the the white spy is trying to kill the black spy is trying to kill the white spy, and then they're both attracted to the female spy, who usually ends up killing them both. It's fun. It's a fun old Mad Magazine cartoon. They used to be very creative. They were essentially slightly darker versions of Looney Tunes. A little bit more violent, but it was always the spies either trying to steal each other's clues or just try and take each other out. Okay. That is the first step, so these thank you, Fritter. Appreciate that. Any help is appreciated. Get me one step closer to my goal. Just trying to build up my YouTube channel, get an audience going, and try and see if I can't generate a little bit of money on the side here to help out with stuff here around the household, because everything is a mess right now. And it'd probably be a little bit different if we could have caught this sooner with my father, but unfortunately we didn't. So things are what they are, whether we like it or not, and I'm still kind of coming to terms with that. And there we go. And I just do this up here. Okay. That's a little bit more distinct design for black. Yeah, I'm terrible at asking for help, just because I keep trying to do stuff on my own. And that way I don't inconvenience anybody else, because everyone's got problems, and the world isn't going to stop for mine. Yeah, she does look a little bit like a mage, but I've got one little thing here to add that changes that. We do this. And then black gloves. And now black looks a little bit less like a mage and more like a pirate. That was kind of the original concept design I had for her. It's changed a few times, but I think it works. But yeah, I'm trying to push out cartoons a little bit faster because I want to start doing. The last tune I did was a minute, which was good. Um, hey, what's going on here? Uh-oh. Thank you. Flash is being difficult. It does this from time to time. I want to start doing little 30-second tunes because I can do something that's 30 seconds in about a month, depending on the animation quality, what's required. Like for the first meeting between red and black, that's going to be different because I want to have a fight. I want to have a sword fight. And I've got some of that storyboarded out in my head, which helps out a lot. But I need a little bit more. Because black has to win the first time, because then the characters will have a little bit of a little history with each other. Let's see, body type about the same. Very good. Head's just a little too large, so I just do this. So I also want to do, there's a contradiction in the characters' fighting styles that I'm actually really finding myself attracted to. And that is, I've got red fighting with a sword, which is a regular sword, and I have black fighting with a fencing sword. And if you know how to use a fencing sword against someone who uses another sword, you've got a little bit more of an advantage just because of how quick it is. Because there are lots of ways you can fight. At least from what I remember, I had college fencing for a while and learned a lot of interesting things about how people move and how the weapon works. And we will correct this because her corset needs to be a little lower. But the approach I'm going to take with the series. Oh, that's okay, Jader. Nice talking to you. The approach I'm going to take to these shorts, from what I've figured out, is I'm gonna start breaking things up just a little bit. So I will have things like some episodes Red is trying to take out the dragon, some episodes Red is trying to complete a quest, and then some episodes it's Black stalking Red or Red stalking Black. And then I have other characters I'm trying to piece together just a little bit more, because I've only got a few characters. Yeah, I'm doing my best to stay positive. It's not an easy thing, especially when you don't sleep that well. But that's insomnia. Yeah, I think the dark hair color actually works for Black pretty well. Let's take a look if we see what happens if we do this. Just drag this down a little more. That's actually pretty nice looking. I never intended that. It just sort of happened. The only problem is with the color I have here, the arms have to stand out a little bit more. Unfortunately, I've found in animation when you have a lot of movement, if you have lighter colored appendages, they show up much clearer. And then you don't have to rely on shading as much, even though you still got to have shading. And just to make things a little bit more gaudy, I will widen the cuffs just a little bit more. It's a little bit Dread Pirate Roberts, I suppose, but it works. There we are. Yeah, it's an interesting little contradiction with some of the rest of the character's outfit, but it's nice. It adds something to it. Um, don't know about this spot right there. I was originally going to separate that one way. I'm going to separate it like this so I can make it look like this is an undershirt and this is like a vest. Because style is about all I have right now since I'm still sorting through this artist block, but I can still make some stuff work pretty well. Oops, didn't want to do that. And just cuz, to finish the look and make it look more like it's a vest, there we go. Good stuff. Okay. Last but not least, I'm recycling these shoes because they kind of look like I saw an old painting of pirates and realized they kind of had shoes similar to this. And it kind of works for her look. At least I think it does. Oops, wrong way. And since Black is supposed to be kind of a pesky character, I got to give her a certain facial expression to finish everything up. And then we are all set. Actually, what happens if we do this? Ooh, that actually looks pretty good. Correct this just a smidge. Boom. Wow. That came together pretty well. Yeah, her head is still just a little too big for the body. But I can correct that later. Because this is essentially just a finished character design at this point, but here we go. Oops. Too narrow, too stiff. Here we are. Okay, and then the last thing I got to do is I got to shrink her head just a little bit. And I think I will keep the sleepy eyes. I kind of like the sleepy-eyed and high arched eyebrow. Little contrast there. So we will do this. And there we go. I just need to make this a little bit more crooked. And okay, that's the right amount of crooked. That's almost the right amount of crooked. I gotta lower the headband just a smidge. Okay. If I shrink this back a little bit, I think that's going to be it. And then And then her design is almost finished. I have to give her a facial expression. And I'm going to have to stylize this up just a little bit more, but not right now. Because after I finish the character design once, I have to draw it one more time to try and cement it to memory. Correct this just a smidge. It's at that moment when I realized I didn't have things centered on. There we go. Oops. Okay. And I gotta lower the nose. Okay. So, get rid of red for right now. So there's black's character design. So the way to solidify this after you draw, after you draw something like this, is to draw it one more time, but this time make a pose. Even just a small action pose helps. Let me double check my fencing reference. One second. Oh, come on, YouTube. Thank you. YouTube's being a little difficult. Yay. Okay. Very good. I'm just fussing around with a pose. Okay. So I've carried this over. Now I do just a simple storyboard outline pose for her. And because because her face is kind of limited to this side right there, not the perfect bit of framework, but considering that one arm is longer than the others, I'll just put down. Since it's all supposed to be this is all just supposed to be temporary. I can correct it later. So the head is still a little small. I'm gonna make things a little bit more proportionate. There we go. This is about right. So then I always take my crude outline add it usually stationary next to the character. Not the most dynamic pose, but I can work with that. Because yeah, you can see how kind of small that. Oh, come on, Flash. Autosave. Ugh. You can see how small she looks down there. And when you do cartoon work and stuff like that, you want to make the characters look more dynamic and bigger than life if you can. Step one is her bustier. Oops. I've got to try and keep the shapes. And I want to keep the sharp shoulders. And the exaggerated long collars there really help sell the image, I think. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to match the proportions over here a little bit. So, I don't want to give her. I don't want her torso to be too long. These characters are supposed to be cartoony, after all. Okay, and there we go. I can. Yes, that's very crooked and does not match the proportions there. I can always just correct that by doing that. And because we want to keep it the illusion that this is actually a vest that she's wearing, and there we go. Yeah, her design is a little less intricate than Red's is. And let's see, oh, this needs to go down just a smidge more. Boom. Come on, Flash. Work with me. And get the exaggerated neck. Okay. I just get her head done, and then that's it for the hard part. So I got to square off that jaw just a little bit more. Okay, I think that's good. Whew. Okay. Yeah, I've found one way to save time is to not have to draw ears on a character. If you can avoid it, not that you should avoid it all the time. I'm going to shrink her body down just a little more. There. But it's easier to draw hair over ears than to have to draw ears. It's a strange nitpick, I'm sure, but there we go. Looks a little bit more like a sailor now. I better correct this, because that's supposed to be wrapped around her head, and don't want it to quite look like a hat when it's just a headband, really. Wait, headband? I'm not using the right word, but I know what I mean, so that's okay. As long as I know what I mean. I'm going to give her heavier eyelids up top. And there we go. So now black is almost finished. There. Good stuff. Haven't quite figured out her personality just yet, but I'm not oblivious to what it's going to be. Red is meant to be kind of a goody two-shoes character. And black is not... Black is an antagonist, but she's not evil. I've yet to even think of an actual evil character to put in this yet. Because for the most part, I'm just having fun piecing together little story ideas with some of the monsters and some of the other characters. Because I really don't want to keep that Looney Tunes / Spy vs. Spy tone for all this. I'm trying to figure out... Just need to widen this a bit. I'm trying to figure out a middle ground there. Because cartoons are fun to make, even though I know YouTube is kind of cracking down on animators again. And it's not good what's going on either. I hear you are in danger of losing a YouTube partnership now if you don't post enough. I don't know what enough is going to be. But I saw somebody get a notice that was spread around Twitter the other day, that some animator got a notice that he was in danger of losing his YouTube partnership because he hadn't posted in a while. And that makes my skin crawl. It's already hard enough to be an animator as it is. You don't need to punish us for taking time. But we'll see how things go. Because I think the way to get around that is to do mostly shorts. It's just every short has to get a certain amount of watch time in my case. Okay, so I can see where the design is working and where it isn't working. And it isn't working right there. It isn't working right there because I gotta have that eye closed up completely. And her head is nice and wide, but not proportional. Now it's proportional. Okay, that's better. I still have no clue how to animate this character just yet, but um, every character has to have a slightly different way that they move. And so I'm assuming for her I'm going to have to start looking at cats, because cats have that funny movement to them where they've got that very smooth way that they walk. And we just do this right there. There we are. Looking good. And I can't quite correct this jagged spot right there, but I'll try. The problem is I've got it right next to the dark collar on her bustier vest. You don't want to sacrifice that. So, last thing to add in for black outside of her hands and feet. Got to give her a grin. There I am, keeping a triangular style about proportions and things like that. I don't know, I think triangles just kind of works for characters. I think this is a little too close. Don't want to cover her face up entirely, but that's what I want to do. There we go. Excellent. So I'm still not too keen on the eye, but I'm not going to fight with it for right now, because everything else is mostly done. Well, there's a thought. You know, I never considered making this character a goth or gothy, but that actually could work for her. Here, we'll add a choker. There we are. Yeah, these are pretty silly shoes. I actually based them off some old medieval shoes that I saw where what you see is about what people used to wear at some point in history. Probably not as comfortable as what we wear now, but it could be worse. Could have the same amount of rights we used to have when people would wear shoes like that. Okay, there we go. So, what else do I need to do? Oh, I need to correct that because that's crooked. Give her a wider grin. There we go. Oh, that's so much better. Get rid of that. Yeah, her body's still a little too big. It contradicts red over here. But it's only a small contradiction, and I can fix that later. And since I'm keeping the theme going with the droopiness, and then, yeah, that still looks so much like a hat. I just got to do this, and I think I'm done with it. There. Now it looks like what it's supposed to look like, and I'm kind of blanking on what it's supposed to be, but it's tied around her hair. So, okay, I have an antagonist just about finished. Let me adjust her eye a little bit. You know, there is a roundness to the eyes you want to always maintain, or else everything looks too narrow. I used to make that mistake a lot when I used to draw stuff. I'm gonna put the eyebrow down here. We'll give her a more mischievous grin. And then I think what I'm going to do before I add in her hands is I'm going to correct the proportions, because that should only take a moment. Assuming I do that correctly, then it takes more than a moment. Almost. There. Oh, that's much better. Still crooked. I can fix that though. Yeah, I get OCD about these details. I'm still working on minimizing that just a little bit more so it's not too crazy, because otherwise I'll spend all day fidgeting over nothing. Yeah, I think the sharper edges sell this a little bit better. Thank you. Okay. Just correct this last spot on her hair. Good. Okay, black is essentially done. I will just give her a hand Fingers are a little too big, thank you. Oh, shut up. Don't know if you guys can hear that obnoxious beep, but I sure can. That's Flash's way of saying it's auto-saving, whether you like it or not. Even though I appreciate it, if you click on something when that happens, it gives you that obnoxious beep. Because I'm feeling lazy, okay, that's it. And that is black. I can correct a few things. I'm trying to make her hair just a little bit more symmetrical so this side matches that side. In order to do that, I gotta shrink this down, but there we go. And there we go. That is Red's antagonist. I will probably make a few adjustments to other things on her. Still need to correct the hair so it's a little bit more symmetrical. But yeah, you can tell by what she's wearing what she is, and that she's someone who's up to no good. And then the last thing is this. And this is going to be where animating this gets to be a pain. Because this is what her sword looks like. I wanted to give her a weapon that's a little devious looking, because a standard epee or foil just doesn't have much to it, whereas this looks a little sinister, like there might be something more to it. It's got some personality to it as a weapon, which is important. And then also it's, you know, long. And anybody who's played around with these can tell you how quick these weapons are. So there we go. Handguard on each side. And then to match what I've got, yeah, I'm still trying to convince myself that there's a faster way to animate than what I'm doing. Because drawing this stuff, you can see how time-consuming some of it is, even though this is me still doing this early on. This is the first time I've drawn this character on the computer, so I don't have the muscle memory yet. But I will. So, here's the antagonist of Dungeons and Debt. Well, at least one of them. The other one I've got a dragon. And it's going to be something, the dragon stories are going to be very simple. They're just going to be, those are going to be the Looney Tunes ones where Red is going to try and kill the dragon, and the dragon is just laying down there sleeping, and everything she tries to do goes wrong. And I want to have the right references to it, so I've got the classic Looney Tune trying to push a boulder over a cliff to squish the other character joke. I've got a rough idea how to spin that, so it's something it's at the very least I came up with my own punchline for something. But that's going to be a 30-second tune if I can pull that off. Um, I'm I'm still trying to figure out what's the bare minimum amount of animation I need to make something look good, so I don't over animate stuff. Because when you do that, you second guess yourself and you put a lot of extra time in it. But just small things for right now. So that is going to be it for this stream, because I've got to get started on dinner in a little bit. Because it's 5 o'clock here where I am. So thanks for hanging out with me today, and I will try and stream more next week. Everything depends on how things go with the hospital on Wednesday. So talk to you later, and once again, thanks for hanging out.